clinical systems and quality-driven healthcare delivery. With a distinguished career spanning research, education, and healthcare leadership, Professor Mujibuddin continues to foster innovation, collaboration, and excellence in the medical and digital health domains. So over to the speaker.
Okay, good morning. Good morning. I am not able to hear you. Let's try once again. Good morning. Last once again. Good morning. So my ears are not working or your voice is not working. Let's try once again. Good morning. Thank you so much. I would request all the students to settle down. That does not disturb my session. I'll give exactly 30 seconds of time so that everyone settle down. 30 seconds. Thank you, everyone. Please get settled down so that I can complete my session quickly. Okay, wonderful. So I have my slides. So you have two good news. Can I tell good news before I start the session? Yes or no? Yes or no? So today you are having a very crisp session. It will not go more than 30 minutes because I have a flight. So I have to go and catch the flight. So 30 minutes I'll complete your session. That's point number one. Point number two, I am today fasting, so I'll not ask any questions to you so that you don't ask me questions. I can run away from here. So these are two good news. I'll be very crisp, short, and this topic is very, very, very challenging. AI and decentralized clinical trials. I'll not take much time. So this is me. As of now, if you see a brief snapshot about me, what I generally do, what is my profile. So it's about 3 profiles I have as of now. I am a founder and CEO for Clinosol Research, and I am the associate director for a medical device company, and I'm also director for Rapid Medic Hospital, where we develop a lot of devices and also apps for healthcare sector. I'm a professor of practice, and this is my achievements. We have already reached to a students of 50,000. On average, I give nearly 150 to 200 sessions every year. So that's more important. And then I have more than 19 years of experience, and I have got back-to-back 13 awards. This is my profile. And yeah, so this is more interesting slide. First of all, the previous speakers and chief guest has spoken very nicely about clinical trials, because most of molecules needs evidence. Without an evidence, we can't bring the molecule into the market. We have to test it in very controlled and customized environment, and it has to go into market. But the earlier scenario was different, and now scenario was different. Earlier it was taking around 15 years to 20 years, but now it is only taking 4 to 5 years. How can that time has been reduced? What are the different strategies we have used to reduce the timeline? Still, we are understanding the importance of the patient safety and efficacy. So that's the first one. What is this traditional trials? Why these are struggling? So I think everyone knows there is a theoretical aspect that what are clinical trials, why clinical trials, how clinical trials, and all those answers will come. So the traditional clinical trials have some barriers. So because a patient has to come to hospital, and the hospital should have this sites, and they have to conduct clinical trials. So the first one is geographical barriers. Only one place, one location, if you conduct a clinical trial, you might not show efficacy. You have to test it at multi-center sites, different location sites. Earlier it was having so much challenges because there was no electronic transmission, or there was no more electronic data capture. The second one, the manual errors and data source. The huge aspect, I would like to inform all the B.Pharm or M.Pharm or PharmD students, your future is only one word. That word is called as data. Everything will be spoken on data. So data-driven decisions, or data-driven clinical trials, or data-driven adaptive trials, or whatever it is, if you have enough data, you can perform more clinical trials. Whatever you give, for example, if you give garbage, it will come out of garbage. If you give a clean data, it will process a clean data and come up with more understanding that how really drug is working and which categorization of patients are working. So that's data soil and manual error. That's the second thing. And the third one, the hospital selection. Already we spoke about it. How many of you before coming to this really knows about clinical trials? The awareness of clinical trials was less. The regulations were knowledge about regulations were very less, and about site selections, hospital selection was very, very less. That's the third one. And the fourth one, regulatory complexities. Sometimes it happens that regulators are giving more strict regulations, stringent regulations to safeguard the human beings, either it is USFDA or CDSU or other regulations. These were all issues with traditional clinical trials. Now here comes the first chapter, which is called as AI and decentralized. There are two words. First one is AI and the second one is decentralized. And remember, AI, what we are using for engineering is entirely separate from AI, which we are using for clinical trials. Don't club both. So it's entirely different process because we are working with human beings. Okay, now this is a very interesting story. What exactly is decentralized clinical trials? Now I'll ask you a question. Patient will come to hospital or doctor will go to a patient? What methodology we are using? So not energy and efforts, and also it includes your finances. Why can't we make every patient home as a hospital? That's where the picture got changed. So now we are using multiple technologies, and also we are using multiple systems where every patient home can become a hospital, and he does not need to come to a hospital to participate in clinical trials. So now future is you don't find a patient searching for you and coming. You have to go and search a patient and enroll the subject into the clinical trials. That's where the picture comes change. That's decentralized clinical trial. First one, e-consent. Earlier, the consent form was a big paper, 10 pages, and patient has to read everything and understand. Now it entirely got changed. It's all called as electronic and video documents or videos or gamification, or a patient can click on every video to know about the drug or disease or clinical trial or investigator or all those things. So now it's completely zero paper, no travel is needed. Patient can participate in clinical trial by just attending in a video consent. That's the first point. The second point, I think very interestingly, our chief guest also spoke very nicely about the AI summit which is happening. One of the most interesting thing which is happening in AI summit in Delhi is wearables. The future is all about wearables. Understand it very clearly. Future is not about diseases or drugs. It's about wearables. How you can take the wearables into consideration. Wearable is not just what you are thinking. Wearable can be a watch. Wearable can be a ring. Wearable can be a glass. Very recently, AI summit also, there is a one glass which has been developed. Whatever languages you are talking also, if you wear that glasses, it converts that into your local language. That's where the innovation is coming. So you just have to understand that the innovation is coming in such a way that the clinical trials are growing so much. So the second one, very important one, is wearable. Patient don't need to come to doctor to give a vital signs. There is no requirement of a doctor to get a BP or a heart rate or a blood pressure. How patient can wear a wearable and give the data, continuous monitoring is being done. I think most of you guys know that there is a continuous glucose monitor. Now everyone is using a patches. They put a patch and then continuous glucose is monitoring. That's the second one. The third one, very interesting one. Now the pharmacist directly how they can talk to a patient. Say for example, patient is remote tribal village. How can you dispense a drug to a pharmacist? Drone-based dispensing. How can you use a telepharmacy? Virtual mode of convincing a patient that this is how you have to take a drug, this is the rational use, this is what you have to avoid, this is what you have to do. All those things are called as tele. Word called as tele. NMC has already given regulations. Also Pharmacy Council also has given regulations for conducting telepharmacy and telemedicine. Both are acceptable now. So doctor can be convinced the patient in regards to your tele. All these three things make patient empowered, that patient does not need to come to a hospital to participate. That's what is the future, which is called as decentralized. Patient will not come to a hospital, but every patient home will become a hospital for you, or patient will become more empowered and he will be engaged. He does not want to exit from the trial, because most of times patient will exit. If he does not find interesting, he will say, I am exiting. If you make sure that he is engaging with the data and you say that your all details are being captured continuously, then he makes sure that he continues into trial. Yeah, so this is one of the interesting story. Now, I said about decentralized. Now, how AI is making decentralization possible. How artificial intelligence is making sure, okay, how AI is making decentralization. I think very recently, I think 2 days back, I read one article. And everyone is speaking now about AI uses in clinical trial. The first and foremost aspect, site and patient intelligence. Remember, most of drugs will fail because you don't find the right patient, you don't find the right hospital to conduct a clinical trial. You might have a wonderful drug, super good medicine or device or vaccine or cosmetic or whatever it is. But if you don't have the right patient to test it, you can't prove that it is having efficacy and safety. That's where the first point is your identification of site and also identification of right patients. That's what you call it as patient identification. I'll ask you a question. How do you identify a patient? Now currently, doctor is responsible to identify the patient. Patient comes, they discuss and they identify. But now there is one more system which is coming, which is called as EHR and EMR. Electronic health records and electronic medical records. Now, one organization is there where it is collecting all the medical records of the patient. Now, I am going to that organization and saying that, boss, listen, I want this inclusion and exclusion criteria. Can you pick up the data and give? They will give you the data. They will give you a whole patient who fits into your clinical trials. You don't necessarily need now manual process to identify a patient. That's what is the future, which is called as EHR and EMR, identification of patient. Because most of trials fails not to identify the right patients. The second one, remote trial conduct. So this is most important. The machine learning powered models, which can make sure that which patient is having which serious adverse event. Because we are putting a lot of variables, we are putting a lot of health apps in the phones. So now future is not about RX, it's about DX, digital therapeutics. Doctors does not give only medicines. Doctors gives one medicine, one software, one app onto you. So that's where understanding of the subject patient data to give further treatment or treatment or changing of the treatment is more important. So that's the second one, remote trial conduct, including either it is telehealth or it is ePro or it is virtual visit. Patient does not need to travel to a hospital unless and until it is very serious conditions or it is very careful assessment which has to be done by the doctor. So if it is not there, then doctor can give his counseling or consulting over the phone and he can continue doing that. So that's your virtual visit. And also there is a ePro, which is called as patient report outcome. Remember, in future, you will not ask patient is getting treatment or not. You will ask how comfortable, how happiness index, what is an outcome of the patient. If he is happy, drug is good or not good is also okay. So he should continue the medicine. The patient should continue the medicine, or else there is no point in taking a medicine and giving a medicine for the treatment. There is no efficacy saying that disease is going or disease is coming. It's about outcome of the patient. So that's the second one. The third one, very important one, which already have said that data quality on the scale. The highest complex problems are coming with the data quality. Because the sources of data has increased. Now I said so many stories. EHR I said, EMR I said, telehealth I said, ePro I said, variable I said, that I said, this I said, electronic data I said. How many data are getting now? This much data is coming not only from patient, but from the labs, from ECG, from data machines and from variables. So much of data is coming. How can you all this data bring into understandable data and clean and validate the data? Making sure that it is readily usable data, because the data is so complex. So how can you do that? Data quality on the scale with NLP and also automated pipeline is more important for you. Okay, so now first point, how AI can be used in site selection and hospital selection. I don't know whether Vinayaka machine is doing or not. I'm not discussing about that, but I'm sitting at Hyderabad and understanding that which hospitals are doing. Now my consideration is in Vinayaka mission also and XYZ also and YZ also. How I can use AI to pick the hospital and site to conduct a clinical trial. That's the first point. So this is the challenge. The first challenge is site selection is always wrong and it has a costly mistake. Identification of right investigator and right patient is always a challenging. But the solution, very clear solution, machine learning, make sure that historic data analysis of EHR and EMR data and the previous record of the investigator, that how many clinical trials are being performed and how many clinical trial data is being submitted. Remotely, you can pick up the site to conduct your clinical trials. That's a chapter 1, which is smarter site selections. And this is one of the interesting story. Site feasibility in practice. Whether we have picked the site, now we are having question, is this feasible or not? They have resources, they have facilities, they have time, they have X, they have Y, they have Z, and they have previously no black spots. This is the feasibility now. The biggest question is the feasibility. How can we take this feasibility into consideration? So this is one. The first one, EHR and registry mining. See, understand, there is always one story. Say, for example, how do I know about you? If I know your Facebook and Instagram, I can know about your character now. I can go and do data mining of your data, that how you are putting the data, and then I understand what exactly is your character. The story here is called as data mining, going into deep and deep of the data, understanding what might be my solution based on this information. That's the first one. Second one, investigator profiling. The investigator who is coming into clinical trial has a right qualification, training and experience, and also has a time to conduct a clinical trial. That profiling we can do it, the doctor. The third one, feasibility scoring. AI can put up the scores and say that if you take this site, the chances of pass is this. The chances of continuing this trial is this. The chances of fail is this. So that's your flexibility or feasibility scoring. And last one is dynamic re-ranking also, it can change. At any point in time, it will take huge amount of data and answer about the data. AI is all about data. Understanding about data and prediction of data is more about AI. So this is the first one. This is a very interesting story. Now everyone wants, including doctors, pharmacists, nurses, everyone wants one person. That person is called as patient. Okay, so now how can you recruit a patient in clinical trials? That's the most interesting, because if your drug is super good also, if a patient is not there, then you can't test it. So how AI plays, already we have discussed about this. First one is EHR based modeling or machines. This is the first one. NLP exact matching can be done. NLP exact matching can be done for that particular patients, picking up the EHR and EMR, because lot of data is there for that patients. The second one is digital and social reach. This is very interesting story. AI makes sure that digital advertisements right to the patient, but this has a complex, because regulation clearly says that you cannot run an advertisements. You cannot run an advertisement in clinical trials. But how can you make sure that digital availability for the patients, how you can take it up is more important. That's your social and digital. Third one is protocol optimization. Understand, earlier it was bench to patient. Now it is patient to bench. Earlier you used to go into a lab, discover a drug, come to a patient. Now you have a patient, identify a disease, then come back to a lab and identify the drug which matches this. So I think previous speakers or previous chief guests also spoke about precision medicine. One dress, one blazer does not suit for everyone. How can one drug does suit for everyone? How can you identify that? All kind of social, physical, genomic, omic data taken into consideration along with combination of medicines which are taken into consideration along with your demography data, how drug can exactly act on it. That's called as optimization. How can you make sure that your protocol is as per the fitting of the patients? Is something AI can do it. So that's the first chapter, the patients. This is the advantage, evidence from the field. These are the advantage of AI in patient recruitment. First is the faster screening, AI assisted, nearly 72%. And enrollment speed is more than 50%. And diverse patients, because you can't take one people. So now I think today morning also so many people spoke about 800 people have registered and 70 institutions. It is called as diversification. We're not discussing about one institution, it is speaking about multiple institutions and multiple genders, multiple races, multiple qualifications, multiple things. That's called as diverse patient population. So this is the advantage. This is the second chapter, very interesting. Patient once come into trial have to be engaged and stay in trial till the end, or else there is no point of continuing a trial. So most of patients will fail, and most of patients will say that I have a doubt about this clinical trial, I don't want to continue. How can you engage a patient to continue into clinical trial at the end? So that's AI in patient recruitment or patient retention. So this is keeping the patients engaged and on study. The first point, you can do a dropout prediction. I don't know how many of you know. So there is so much of AI now. that I was speaking to one of the technology people, and they were saying that on a call center, based on your voice and based on your words, we know that how much you are showing interest to take that product or service. So that how much we are bringing is, if you are calling to a call center saying that I want to know about this product, based on your voice, terms, words, and the gap you are taking, we understand that whether you are really interested or you are dropping out. That's called as AA prediction. The same way we can implement in your dropout prediction. So based on how many times the patient is really engaging with the investigator, either through WhatsApps or through mobile or through how good he is communicating, based on it we can predict the dropout. And before he goes into further last, we can take that patient and counsel the patient and answer all the questions of the patient. That's called as first one, dropout predictions. Second one, most important thing is we forget. Because of all technologies, we forget. That's called as personalized reminders. Now, more interestingly, there is one word which is called as agentic AI. AI and agentic AI is more advanced. I'll just tell one small story here. Say, for example, patient has to come to a visit on 2nd of February. He forget. We gave a reminders, he forget. So automatically, now AI, what it does, it gives a new dates. But agentic AI does not does that. So what it does, what was a mistake? We gave a reminders, patient forget. So now second time what agentic AI will do is, they'll book a Uber cab on 8th. And Uber cab will go and call the patient, still he picks the call. And he picks the call, Uber picks the subject and go to a hospital, nearest hospital, and then site is been taking the assessment. Then Uber is waiting for you and he will take that patient to the home. Now it automatically updates the next visit dates also. You don't need a human now. It automatically updates that next visit, how it have to happen, and next visit reminders it will give. Now you don't need to go and have an Excel saying that when patient is came, how much days difference, when patient has to come. All this are not required now. It's more about reminders, reminders, reminders. Everyone has one of the most important activity, personalized reminders. The third one, home-based visits. Not necessary that patient has to go to a 40 kilometers away to a hospital. If there is a no serious cases, he can go to a nearest clinic and take the data and submit it into the electronic systems. And home visits also can happen with the respect to your engagement. So these are all engagements, and we are bringing chatbots also. Now chatbots are like our best friends now. And if you give garbage, it will give garbage. Understand? If you ask chatbot that some worst question, next time it will give worst answers only. So because I think very recently, I don't know how many of you know this funny story. One time ChatGPT, one lady was asking some question and ChatGPT gave wrong answers. This lady got so frustrated and she scolded ChatGPT, saying that you idiot, you don't know this, that, all those things. Then next time, next 2 days, she asked that what are the places to watch in this particular location because I'm visiting. ChatGPT gave the answers, and then these people went to that all locations, they came back. But finally we understood that ChatGPT gave the worst last 10 options because ChatGPT was being scolded. So later on we understood that this is what happened. And I think 2-3 days back, one of the person was writing an article in ChatGPT. ChatGPT understood that he is doing a wrong research. ChatGPT itself wrote an article and submitted to one publisher saying that this fellow is doing all worst publications. So now I don't understand how ChatGPT is taking our information and how it is giving to others also. So because if I give some slides and say that can you modify this slide, it is taking that slide. But whom it is giving the slides, I don't know. So it might give to someone else also. So much of complex information and things are there. Yeah, so this is ePro platforms, the patient report outcome. Remember, patient should be empowered. Future is patient should be empowered. Patient should not feel that I am separate from the clinical trial. So there is a word which is called as patient-centered clinical trial. Patient should take into the consideration, patient voice should be heard, patient assessment should be taken into consideration. That's the first one, ePro. Second one, I already have spoken. Future is all about wearables and sensors. There is no other words. Already I think our chief guest has spoken about devices. It's all about wearables and sensors. And the third one, telehealth visits. Not every visit patient has to physically come. Some visits he can come on phone or on Zoom call or XYZ. And already I have said AI chatbots. Chatbots are the future. So chatbots are becoming more important in our life. Yeah, this is chapter 5, which is, I already have spoken, data. Data. Every time you forget about everything, but you remember only one thing, data. What is the data you are producing? What is the data you are analyzing? What is the data which you are predicting? So the most important word is the data collections and data analysis and data validation and data predictions and archiving of data also. So that's the future of your data cleaning. Yeah. So the AI-driven data quality management, because most of us ignores about data. The data which should be clean, because regulators are already here. Now they only see the data, but they don't see the patients. They don't see the procedures. They don't see anything. They only see one word. What is that? What you have submitted the data, they will review that data and they will approve the clinical trials. But they don't go and see that who is the patient. You bring the patient and I will ask you some questions to the patients. The data has been given so advantage, and AI-driven data quality management has been done more and more. And remember, there is one word which is called as risk-based monitoring. You have 10 risks in clinical trial. Which one to prioritize? That's called as the risk-based monitoring. So the biggest risk has to be given more pressure. The biggest problem has to be given more time and efforts so that the rest of things can be taken into later categories. So that's our risk-based monitoring. So this is the risk-based monitoring, AI in action. So many issues are happening because of human resources constraint or because of regulatory knowledge and so many things. Now, centralized statistical systems. You don't need a monitor to go to a hospital and review the data. He can sit at one central location, all the data is uploaded, and he can review the data. That's called as central data monitoring and statistical consideration. And there is one more thing, automated edit check. Say, for example, patient signed ICF today, but patient got adverse event yesterday. This is invalid data. But you don't require manually to check this all invalid data. Forget about this works. You will not have this kind of works now. Automatic edit checks will fire saying that, boss, listen, your adverse event has happened before ICF. It is not possible. Can you correct it? And system will ask. And site will understand and answer, and the system will close. No human being work. Understand, human being work will become more critical with the use of AI. So that's what it has to be understood. And query prioritization. Already I have said there are 100 queries. Which query is more challenging? Now say, for example, there is a patient who got a serious adverse event, but there is no treatment. I got doubt now. You got a serious adverse event, how can you don't give a treatment? As per JCP, you have to give. That query has to be prioritized when it is compared with ICF or AE date. Might be they have made a small mistake, but SAE they can't make a mistake. Every patient who got an SAE has to be immediately treated. So those kind of prioritization can be done. And the fourth one, regulatory compliance. Remember, no paper studies going forward. No paper studies going forward. It's all about electronic system, electronic signature with a username and password. How you can make your data secure. So now say, for example, you understand or not, privacy concerns are more important in India now. And you are working with the patient data. And your patient data has to be secured very much highly, or else you'll be in a big problem. Okay, so this is one session which I always feel that this session should be understood. Which jobs are safe for you? Understand, it's your data analytics and data visualization jobs. I would ask you guys to learn about how data can be visualized in a pictorial representation, because one picture speaks 1,000 words. It's not 1,000 words which speaks about one picture. So it's all future is on data analysis and visualization. So this is raw data with visualization. This is the different softwares are there. I don't want to go into it, but here so many systems are being given here into it. So advanced AI techniques, the first one, predictive analytics. The second one, biomarkers discovery. Third one, safety signals and subgroup analysis. Yeah, visualizing trial data. Visualizing trial data for decision makers. Understand, once you have enough data, historic data, visualize that data and predict it whether I am going in a right way or not. Remember this, there is no fixed clinical trials that I start now, after 6 months I'll stop my trial. No. Every month you stop a trial, you collect the data, and you analyze and visualize that, can I go in a right way, or should I modify my protocol? Should I change my optimization of subjects, or should I change my medicine, or should I stop it? Because after 6 months you are coming and telling that drug has failed. And 6 months patients are thinking that drug is working really. So how can you make this kind of environment is more that predictions and adaptive trials. Forget about fixed trials. See, now your history says 1:1 drug. Paracetamol is good or diclofenac is good. Now the future is not like that. Future is like paracetamol is there, but paracetamol is only working on fever, or it is working on cancer or diabetes or something else also. One drug, multiple diseases. Multiple drugs, one diseases. Multiple drugs, multiple diseases. So complicated designs are coming into picture that how you can make it very quick adaption of this clinical trial is important. So this is visualizing of trial data for particularly your aspects. Additional AI application in trials, these are protocol design optimization. Now this is wonderful story. Now I don't know how many of you use ChatGPT in a proper way. If you go to a ChatGPT and say that, can you design a clinical trial for a diabetes? It will give 1 page of protocol. And once that, take that protocol and add some of your manual information and then upload it back to it, say that NDCT rules, NDCT 2019 rules, you download and upload that also to a ChatGPT. Say that, as per NDCT, can you develop your protocol? Now, ChatGPT will go and read all NDCT and also read your manual protocol and give one more designed protocol. Now I have more questions. That is this design protocol is as per GCP. I will download ICH E6R3 also. And I will upload that document also ChatGPT saying that, can you now check that, is this my protocol is as per your GCP or not? Then it will give all concerns that these are the places which you are deviating as per GCP. Now you go and ask, as per this protocol, how much time I will take to complete this trial. It will give how protocol can be optimized also. So the future is all about how the protocol design can be optimized and how you can analyze the existing data and do it. So that's a part one. The second one, e-consent and regulatory automations. This is more important. See, we can speak so many things in these conferences, but regulators also have to accept the process which you are doing it. It's not that I speak and go and then regulators are saying that no, this cannot be accepted. So the e-consent has to be accepted, and also there are some regulators which has to be optimization. So because regulatory aspects have to be taken into considerations and submissions have to be done by immediate aspects. So this is real world data. Remember, the future is not about the clinical trial data, but it about real world data. Now doctor is having huge bunch of data that he is taking from the patient. How can he analyze this data and give more data to the sponsors saying that, boss, listen, there are some unacceptable situations where we missed it. Can you take it up? So that's called as your real world evidence and AI. So these are the key publications. These are more evidence publications. These are AI based clinical advancements, and these are the research themes. And these are the challenges. I'll not take much time. Within 1 minute, I'll close this. The challenges, the first one is data privacy and security. The biggest question is how ChatGPT is taking my data, I don't know. So how AI is taking that data and how it can use it, I don't know. The privacy and security concern. Second one, digital divide. So not necessary that everyone will use the way I'm telling the stories. It might be some people who are uneducated, illiterate. How can they get the access of internet and all? Digital divide is more. And algorithm bias. Remember, the ChatGPT, how it works for me, it will not work in the same way to you. So that's called as algorithm bias. And there is always a black box. And I think our chief guests have spoken about sensitivity of devices. So we really don't know ChatGPT is giving right answer or AI is giving right answer or not. There is something which is called as black box. We really don't know how it gave that answer also. If we ask how you gave this, I don't know, but I gave this answer. If you are interested, use it, or else don't use it. And the third one, regulatory validation. Regulatory validation has to be done very carefully. So this is about DCT and AI in clinical trials, particularly. In NDCT, CDSU has put risk-based monitoring, and Ayushman Bharat has given digital machines, and also the India unique opportunity has been there. So remember, what coming up next? AI protocols are coming up next. Adaptive platforms, regulatory agents, and also continuous learning is there. So these are the key takeaways. AI accelerates at every stage, including taking the patients, selecting the sites, conducting a trial, submitting the data, getting an approval, and going into market. Every stage AI can be implemented. Remember, don't learn AI without understanding the clinical trials. First, go into deep of your pharmacy, then learn AI. Don't go and learn this AI I have learned, but I don't know how to utilize in pharmacy. The point here is you need to first go into deeper of your area, then learn AI and implement that into our pharmacy. The second one, evidence is here. The third one, decentralization, democratize the clinical trials and act now. With that, I wanted to personally thank our Jaikar sir who has called me for the session, and thank you so much for patient listening. I'm open for questions, but due to time lag, you can contact me. My LinkedIn is Mujibuddin Sheikh. In LinkedIn, you can connect with me. I'll definitely answer all your questions. So with that, thank you so much. Presented at Vinayaka Mission Research Foundation, Tamil Nadu. And I'm dedicating this session to Jaikar sir because Jaikar sir is always my mentor and guru. Thank you. With a round of applause, guys. A big round of applause.
So thank you very much, sir, for your informative speech. For the want of time, you can post your questions in the mail. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.